Hello everyone, it's Maha. So, tonight's video is going to be a little bit different. So last year at around this time, I really wanted to do this tarot tag on my channel, but I had so many different projects on the go, and there were some videos I wanted to kind of finish up with on this channel. And I also remember that there was a lot of tarot tags going around, which I really enjoyed watching, but I didn't really have a chance to participate in them. I didn't have enough time. Which is a little bit unfortunate because I really enjoy the interaction that happens doing these tags. So I wanted to kind of get back into the swing of things, and I thought I would just make a tarot tag, throw it out there, and then hopefully have a chance to participate in some tarot tags this year, because I think it's just a really nice way to relax and just have fun with it, and it kind of helps me to put aside my Capricorn moon's need for having structured videos and give that a little bit of a break once in a while. So I have made 11 questions by adding the digits of 2018, and these are questions that I thought I would like to share with you just so I can share some aspects of my tarot practice with you, and hopefully some of you will jump in and answer some of these questions as well. If you have a channel and if you want to do a video response, there is one requirement, which is that you must tag at least one person. You can tag as many as you want, but you have to tag at least one person. And I wanted to do it like a real tag, you know, and just make it a bit more fun and maybe interactive. If you don't have a channel, you can always answer whichever questions you like down in the description menu, comment section, and I would love to read them as well. So let's get started. Okay, so before I start, all the questions are in the description bar down below. And question number 1, when and how did you first discover tarot? So I first came across my first tarot deck, which is the Universal Weight Tarot, 13 years ago at a metaphysical shop near my house back then. And I used to just go there to look around, read the books, and I didn't really know anything at all about tarot, but I just thought it was really interesting. So I got the deck, and I got a secondhand book by Rachel Pollack. Can't remember which one it was now, but it was a book mostly on the minor arcana. And I remember reading through the book, underlining things, and really not understanding much. And so I kind of just put it aside and didn't look at tarot again for years until I had my back injury 5 years ago, and I was just in my room one day and I remembered I had this deck of cards, so I just grabbed them and I felt ready to work with them. It's like I wasn't ready before that, up until that point, and I just started using the cards. I went on YouTube and just learned more about them and was really getting it this time. It was like it was the right time. So that's kind of how it happened for me. Number 2, how long have you been working with tarot? So really working with it, probably I would say 5 years working with it, for myself and reading it for other people. Number 3, do you consider yourself a deck collector? Yes, and this was kind of, I actually didn't know I was a deck collector. I've talked about this in another video before, so I'm going to be repeating myself for some of you. But what happened was I had a friend over one day, and I was telling her about this particular configuration I have in my birth chart, which usually means that you could be a collector of things. And so I was telling my friend that I didn't really resonate with that because I'm not a collector, so I don't know what this meant in my chart. And my friend was just sitting, and behind her there was like rows and rows of my tarot decks, my crystal collection, everything was right behind her. And I just remember she turned around and said, she looked at the cards and she was like, "Are you sure you're not a collector? Are you sure you're not a collector?" And then I thought, oh, right, I have a lot of decks, and I do buy decks regularly, so I guess I am. And I started collecting decks, because I was just interested in the different ways that artists saw each card and how they interpreted them, and just the artwork, because I'm an artist myself, so I was really interested in the artwork, and I wasn't really intending to collect decks. It just kind of happened, but I guess technically I am a deck collector. So number 4, do you cleanse your decks? No, I don't. I don't know why I don't. I don't feel I need to. I cleanse my crystals with my decks. I just feel the most important thing is for me to flip through the cards, get to know them, really feel connected with the deck that way. Sometimes I've put the deck under my pillow and slept with it, but I've never cleansed a deck before. Number 5, what role does tarot play in your life? Tarot in my life serves as a guide, as a tool to bring out my inner teacher and to tap into my intuition. So I'm going to leave it at that. Do you use any system of correspondences with tarot? Yes, I do. I use astrology as a correspondence and crystals. I really like decks that are crystal tarot decks. There aren't too many. There's a crystal tarot, and then there's another one that I've done a video of. It's just photos, really nice quality photos of crystals, and I really like that one. I'm going to put the link down below if you are interested. And so I really love to see the correspondences of crystals and planets and plants. I really love the herbal tarot because of that, because of its connection to the different plants, the connection of the cards' meanings to the plants. I find that very interesting. And I try to incorporate crystals too when I'm reading tarot for other people. So number 7, what is the one deck you feel most comfortable using no matter the situation? So for me, that is the Steampunk Tarot deck. I just love, I don't know what it is about this deck. You know, when I first heard of this deck and saw reviews of it, I really wasn't interested. Steampunk is just something that I never grew up with, I wasn't familiar with. It wasn't really the thing when I was growing up as a child in the Middle East. So I was it was very foreign to me. And it was kind of the last deck that I thought I would really enjoy. But something about this deck, really, when I got it, I really started to love the images. Mine is not trimmed. I've seen it trimmed and it's beautiful. I just love the colors, the kind of darker, and I love the style. I mean, I'm sure you guys have all seen this deck everywhere. But I feel comfortable with this deck, and it's kind of my go-to deck too lately. I feel like I can really trust this deck. Feels good to use it. So if I have a pressing question, this is the deck I go to if I'm just more comfortable with this deck. So number 8, other than for doing readings, do you use tarot in any other way? Other than doing readings for myself or others, yes, I use tarot as a visual tool for teaching English. I teach English to non-English speakers or English as a second language learners, and I like to build up the story. I allow them to build up stories with the images. It's nothing to do with tarot. I just use the images of tarot as sort of a storytelling aspect of them when I'm teaching in different ways. I get my students sometimes to pick out some cards and to tell the story, and then sometimes to describe what they see on the image of the card. That's really good for practicing the language. So that's how I use it in other ways than doing readings. Number 9, do you read tarot for predicting the future? I don't. Like I said, tarot for me is more a guide, and I use tarot for getting answers in the present. I believe that the future can be shaped depending on how we live the present. So for me, no, I don't use tarot for reading the future, for predicting anything in the future. Number 10, if you could be any card in tarot at this point in your life, which card would you be? Oh, so you have to choose a card that you'd want to be. And mine would be the King of Swords, which is not here. So not the King of Swords, but the King of Cups. If I could be any card right now, or even ever, I would love to be the King of Cups because he is very solid and powerful with his emotions. Whenever I look at this card, I think of the waves that are going on behind him, and then he's just sitting on this solid concrete surface, so in control, so solid within this chaos of stormy water. And it makes me think of that Zen Buddhist saying that goes something like, when you are the ocean, you're not afraid of the waves. And every time I look at this card, I think of that saying, meaning that when you have all these stormy emotions happening within you, you can find your center and be still within that stormy weather. And that's what I feel with the King of Cups. And this is what I'm hoping to bring to myself, my emotional body. And yeah. So, number 11, which one card in tarot has been most difficult for you to connect with, and how have you finally become more comfortable with it? For me, it's been the Hierophant card. I don't know, I've always had this, perhaps it's the image too that's, to me, very Christian, and Christianity is just so, it's always been so not a part of my upbringing or my past, so I always kind of felt like hard to connect with that card. And second part, how have you finally become more comfortable with it? I used to have, when I was first learning tarot, the Shadowscapes tarot deck right next to my bed. And one morning I remember I drew a card, and I drew the Hierophant. And I know the lighting is really bad right now, but I'll see if I can take a picture and post it at the end of the video. So if you haven't seen this card. And I really felt like suddenly I got it, because there is this old tree here, very detailed here. This deck is very detailed. This tree is kind of just sitting with its roots and branches, and it's just solid, and it just made me think of the wisdom of trees, and suddenly just hit me, inner wisdom. That's what I got with this deck, and it made sense. It made more sense. Now I feel more comfortable with the Hierophant card, because I do feel that it, also astrologically, because I always bring astrology to my videos somehow, and this card is related to Taurus, and it reminds me of that earthy, practical wisdom and intuition, and the signals of the body, the language of the body. That's how I felt comfortable with the Hierophant card. That's how I think of it, and the way that it makes more sense to me. And that's it. That's the 11 questions. So, let me know what you think. You can always talk to me in the comments section down below. I love reading your comments and interacting with you that way. And if you do happen to make a video, don't forget you have to tag more than one person or more. And as always, I'm sending you lots of love and many blessings. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.